Hello and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public service program for the May 19th primary election that is being produced by Capital Community Media, a multimedia center that provides local content, education, and a platform for diverse community voices in the greater Salem area, and the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties, a nonpartisan political organization advocating for voting rights, government transparency, and public election education. All candidates for the position of Polk County Commissioner were invited, and today we will be hearing from Carlos J. Barrientos. All candidates were asked to prepare a 2-minute opening statement telling about themselves, their qualifications, and why they chose to run for the office. I am Claudia Carmichael, your moderator from the League of Women Voters, and I would like to introduce candidate Carlos J. Barrientos to share his opening remarks.
Yes, my name is Carlos J. Barrientos, and I'm running for Polk County Commissioner, position number 3. I'm running because I deeply care about the quality of life for people who live, work, and retire in Polk County. I believe the quality of life is very important. It's one of the reasons that I chose my career background. I was a law enforcement officer for several decades, and I was a soldier in the U.S. Army for several decades, 20 years. I retired as a master sergeant after 20 years with the military, and I retired as a sergeant with the Oregon State Police after serving for 20 years. Currently, I still continue to serve my city as a Dallas City Councilor. I find that's a good way of giving back to the community as far as helping out and lending a helping hand in working with policies within the cities and ensuring that people's quality of life is very good. As a police officer, my biggest role was as a detective with the major crimes section, and I worked all facets of major crimes from homicides to sexual assaults and likes like that. And I'm predominantly in Marion County and Polk County, and I want to continue to maintain the public safety in Polk County. My chief concerns are public safety, homelessness, and a fiscally conservative budget within Polk County.
Thank you for sharing that information with us. The questions for our candidate today were developed in collaboration with AAUW and League members. Candidates did not receive questions ahead of this interview. The candidates' responses to the individual questions will not be timed. Now let's give candidate Barrientos an opportunity to address questions of concern to our community. Now, our first question for the interview. First question. What is the role of the county in local and statewide discussions addressing drought and water needs?
I think the role of the county addressing these particular needs is to find out what the trends are right now, find out what the concerns are, working with the state resources, finding out what the 30-year trends are, and the drought, how this drought is going to affect our Polk County, our community, and our citizens. I know it's a concern that's at least 30 years out. Some of the cities have better manage this, the water resource. It is the number one thing that you need in a community in order for a community to thrive. Most people may say public safety or something like that, but without water, we don't have communities. And I would work with our state agencies to try to leverage them to help us out with grants, or our federal legislators, senators, and representatives to to help us out in leveraging out our water resources. Because in my opinion, what I've seen, that there's a lot of federal regulations that kind of like hold us back from addressing these issues. So I'd like to kind of get with the state representative, federal representatives, and the commissioner's office so we can work on this issue.
Thank you. With budget changes and needs, how will issues like fairgrounds operations be addressed?
As far as I'm concerned, when there's bad news, I'd like to hear about it sooner than later. The more you kind of kick that can down the road, the worse the problem's going to get. Again, I've written a letter to Senator Merkley to try to leverage some federal financial resources for this, but also really putting it out to the public and telling them in a way that's not scaring them, but also in a way that is informative by saying, hey, this is what's going to happen if we lose the state fairground, or the county fairground. And this is a way that we can manage it. And I am in full support of a levy to manage the Polk County Fairgrounds.
Thank you. What resources does Polk County have for addiction and mental health services?
I believe what they have is the behavioral health resources that are located in Monmouth. And I believe they do have caseworkers that are located within Dallas for Polk County. I just came back from a budget meeting just yesterday and today, and I found out that those budgets are very sound, and they were doing a really good job as far as helping people with addiction. And I would continue to support the director, which is Brent DeMoe, and he's doing an outstanding job in handling that.
Great, thank you. What plans are in place to address traffic safety on highways 22 and 51?
Well, I know there's long-term plans with ODOT. As a Dallas City Councilor, I sat in on some meetings that ODOT was going to have an overpass with clover leaves and that type of stuff to mitigate the Highway 51 and the 22 intersection. I do know that there's a safety corridor that starts at milepost 16 that goes to milepost 25. There have been 46 fatalities within the last 20 years. And the only way of solving those things or reducing those crimes, not crimes, but traffic fatalities, is to work in partnership with the Polk County Sheriff's Office and the Oregon State Police. I would like to see a resident trooper with the Oregon State Police patrol up and down, 22 and 51. And I might even entertain something like a traffic team in Polk County, maybe a motorcycle traffic cop or something like that for traffic enforcement.
Thank you. How would you rate the county's current financial status?
The current financial status, I believe, is struggling right now because we have a levy for the state fair. We will have a levy to try to support next year with the public safety levy with the Sheriff's Office, and we still have the levy for the Southwest Polk County Fire Department. So unless these things are concerned, we may be laying off sheriff's officer, and that is not going to help in public safety, and obviously with the people that are hired, they're going to be devastated if public safety people get laid off. So we have some really strong conversations that need to be addressed, and we need to be transparent with our citizens about these levies, and hopefully have the citizens support the levies. I wouldn't want to scare them, but I would just want to keep them informed.
Thank you. What plans exist for providing for the unhoused in Polk County?
I'm not aware of any current plans that exist, but I can tell you I would rely on mentorship of the current commissioners and to try to find out what plans they have, and I want to learn as soon as possible of what their plan is for the future. Because as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you don't have housing, you're not going to have people that are self-actualized. They can't really improve on their own if you don't have that, household, or you have to have that basic need met, and part of that basic need is having housing. So I don't really rely on the current commissioners to find out what the plans are that are in place currently.
Thank you. What two land use laws do you consider most significant to Polk County development?
I will say I'm not really aware of land use laws for Polk County right now, but what I would do if this land use problems, I would get people together as far as in a committee. I'd have people talking and tell the city or the county commissioners what the problems are in those issues, have a committee of like-minded people talking amongst themselves, and then have those recommendations brought up to the county commissioners, and then we can make a good decision from that.
Thank you. Project 10 years into the future. What is next for Polk County?
I think what's next is to have a stable budget, especially for public safety, some type of stable financial budget for the Polk County Fairground, having all the improvements done on that building, because it's an antiquated building, and it's crucial for Polk County because it's a central location for public safety, so people can kind of like unite or get together if there's ever an emergency. So I think those things, the biggest concern is public safety, a fiscally conservative budget, and a stable Polk County Fairground.
Thank you. That's it for questions. Now we invite candidate, there we go, Barrientos. I wanted to make sure I had it right. Candidate Barrientos to share his closing remarks and public contact information.
Okay. I am not a trained politician. I am a boots on the ground worker. I've worked all my life. I'm a self-made man. I grew up in abject poverty, and my sole mission in life is to make quality of life better for everyone around me and to improve things. I've worked as an EMT, a firefighter, a police officer, all in Boston before I came to Oregon. I transferred those skills to Oregon. I became an Oregon State Trooper. I've worked as a trooper, as a detective, and a sergeant. And I learned a lot of lessons along the way. Even in the Army, is you can't get anything done by yourself. And I'm not the type of guy that takes recognition or takes awards for myself. I'd rather have a team accomplishment. And that's what I would do. I would collaborate with people, work in partnerships with all kinds of like-minded people who want to help improve the county. And I would take on each problem and work in collaboration with the state, with the federal government, and the citizens. I would work to be transparent, let people know, what steps I'm using along the way. That's what made me successful along the way, and I think Polk County is a gem in itself, and I believe it could be even better than what it is right now. And I would love to have people's support as your next commissioner for Polk County, position number 3. And you could reach out to me at Facebook on the committee to elect Carlos Barrientos. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, candidate Barrientos, for our interview today and sharing your thoughts. Thanks to Capital Community Media for their production and technology skills, to our community groups that provided questions and topics, and to you, the public, for watching this program in order to become an informed voter. Remember, you have until April 28th to register to vote or make changes in your registration. Watch for your ballot in your mailbox beginning on April 29th. Remember to vote and vote early before May 19th, especially if you are mailing in your ballot. For more local, state, and national voter election information on candidates and ballot measures, visit vote411.org after April 15th when data is posted. Elections matter. Remember to vote because your vote counts.